Hey YouTube, it's Dusk. I'm back again. Got Jackal, Dale, and Wolf here. Now, I apologize for the abrupt interruption, but I'm pretty sure YouTube's video limit, if you're not a partner, is still 15 minutes, so had to. At the end of our last part of the discussion, you were in the middle of saying something strategy-wise about Link. If you could please continue there.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to quickly say that basically the strategy between Toon Link and regular Link, highly more methodical than Toon Link. Toon Link basically just overruns the opponent with like various moves and just unpredictability. If you are basically a WoW player and you like to just do anything without really thinking about it, you use Toon Link. But if you want to think out your attacks and kind of plan stuff, you're using regular Link. It's basically that. That was all.
So it's pretty much the switch between noob and pro.
Yeah. So basically, if you know how to use Link and you've been playing for years and you know Link's strategy both in the games and in Brawl, you're good with adult Link. But if you're Toon Link, if you're a fan of Wind Waker, you're going to find the Wind Waker skill list in Toon Link.
Okay, that's good to put on. Now, I think we spent enough time on Nintendo. We love them to death, but we do have other systems and companies to touch on.
Right, let's get to the core.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. We couldn't keep it innocent forever, but we gotta get down and dirty on this.
You're welcome.
Xbox One versus PlayStation 4.
In other words, when we say versus, ladies and gentlemen, we mean Xbox One loads a gun with not just any shells, salt rounds, 12 bullets, gives it to Sony to shoot them in the head. And what do?
Well,
shoot them in the knee.
Well, that is one opinion. Maybe we'll get some different opinions, but I'm not trying to say versus, although I would love to put some boxing on this channel. You have no idea. But no. We're basically comparing. First, we're going to compare. Well, we're going to compare them as systems, compare their policies, which I know you guys have probably been getting tired of on YouTube, but I think you should at least hear what an entire group would have to say on it, not just one person at a time. And then our own individual comments thrown into the mix. So, gentlemen, I'll let you vote. Which one do we start this topic on? The PS4 or the Xbox One?
Let's just get to the core of the matter. Let's get Xbox One out.
They made themselves the issue. Congrats.
Pretty much. Now, before we get into this, because the whole reason I waited it's been 2 or 3 weeks since E3. Something like that. The only reason I've done this wait is because I was thinking a little bit after E3 we'd get a little more information on the system, so we'd have more to tell you guys. And it's a good thing I did because, hey, Microsoft decided to paint a strip of yellow on the back, turn tail, and try to run to your feet and beg.
They painted so many bullseyes on their body you can't even tell where the skin is.
Wow.
I love that. I love that.
That is messed up, good sir. But yeah, we'll start with what was originally said. That horrible, rainy over here, by the way, Monday on E3. Who wants to start with the positives of the Xbox One?
That's literally the only. I didn't even watch the conference. I read the information online. The one thing I'm going to say about that whole thing, I don't have to be there to know how much my heart would have hurt if I were. Sure, you brought back an awesome game that everybody remembers. If you're a true gamer or a true fighting fan, there's going to be 3 games you're always going to remember, if none other. Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Killer Instinct. There's others, but I'm just going to go...
Well, depending on how far you're going to count classic fighting gamers, Marvel vs. Capcom 1.
That's true.
That is true. That is one of those games you
I cannot believe you didn't let Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
The reason I didn't, and it's simple. I want to keep it at simple fighting games. Simple fighting games were basically...
Dude, Mortal Kombat 1 was as simple as it got. Aside from the special moves, every character was the same.
True, but I mean, that's not necessarily what I meant. I meant more or less just simply, just understanding that, if anyone hasn't played the games, if they remember old games, the games have been around for a minute, the first 2 things, well, there is also Soul Calibur. I didn't count that in.
Yes, true.
But basically, the arcade games, yes, MK is an arcade game, but for the most part, your Killer Instinct is going to come to your mind sooner or later if you're a true vintage gaming fan.
This is true.
Yeah.
It was a very nice nostalgia moment that I'm sure a lot of you guys enjoyed at the E3. Until they decided to hit us below the belt.
Yeah,
They
the
dropped the
exploration
ball.
of everything.
They dropped the ball.
So when you know it's a bad day in wherever the heck you decide to go when you die, when a gaming console or a company brings back a legendary game for the sake of understanding the feel of old games and playing old games, but not having the traditional engine to play games. Come on, last time I checked, anyone who brought a console originally played a game. Originally brought a console simply to just simply say, I can go home and pop in the game and play it. But now you're telling me that there's a limit to how much of that I can do. Like a super limit.
Now, I'm sorry to cut you off, but maybe we should give anyone who's not paying attention to the hype some background information. Okay, first, let me wrap up what my synopsis of the positives are, then the negatives, and then we'll go in with our comments on the Xbox One. If you guys do not hear something you think should have been mentioned, please leave in the comments below. Okay, positives. Yes, the graphics are great. Yes, the sound is great. If anyone, I mean, you said you didn't get to see the conference.
No.
You would have gone gaga over some of these game trailers. I kid you not.
I actually seen a few, and I was
But-
impressed until that one moment.
True enough. But I don't know about you guys. I'm not into fluff, sparkles, and pretty gift wrapping. I am into the actual package inside. It is what Microsoft tried to give us was not a game system, which is what we wanted. They tried to give us an all-in-one device, which, by the way, doesn't seem to be all-in-one. The first time I had heard about the Xbox One, all they talked about was TV and sports. I mean, this is just my say on it. Whoop-de-doo. If you're going to watch TV and sports, which, by the way, I've not watched in years, shy of if my family happens to have it on at the time, I personally resorted to using the internet for that kind of thing. But if I'm going to watch TV, or God forbid I actually watch sports, I will do that on my actual TV that the thing is connected to in the first bloody place. I mean, the internet that this thing runs on, the company that provides your internet probably provides you cable as well to watch these things anyway. I'm sorry about that background noise. Some emergencies pop up in DC all the time, folks.
Long story
We're in
short,
Freedom Plaza, by the way. This place is great. Now, I'm sorry, what?
I was just going to sum up everything you just said into one bundle. Long story short, more for less. That's literally how you can sum it all up. You can continue with everything you're going to say, but it's going to sum up as more for less.
Yes, now the other things about the Xbox One. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard about the turning around and running with the tail between their legs that happened on Wednesday, but at E3, the story we got was, one, you have to be connected to this thing at least once every 24 hours for it to play games. Two, you cannot trade with other people a game more than one. If any of you have ever played the online card game Chaotic back when it was running, by the way, if you did, my username was Plague. I'm sure you remember me. Underworld for life. It was like trading in that game. I could trade Gale. A really powerful card I had was called Kaor. I could give Gale my Kaor card online. But after that trade happened, it was locked to him. He could no longer trade it to, say, Jackal or Wolf here if they had it, and they wanted to give him a really nice deal for it. He couldn't do that. That's essentially the story we got for the Xbox One on his trading. And to top it off, I believe the video you sent me was from a guy called Alpha Omega Sin. Was that his name? Yeah. Yes, Alpha Omega Sin said this best. Hit the discs for the Xbox One. Over-glorified install discs. They just have enough data to speed up the download. From what I'm hearing on this.
It's a CD. It's a CD.
But after you install it, which, by the way, each of these installs will have their own code. I'm pretty certain about within the box. The non-trading thing is at the discretion of the publishers, by the way, and we all know what most of the publishers are going to say. We know. But yes, After that, the disc is completely worthless. If I wanted to hand the disc to Jackal to use to actually play the game, he couldn't do it. He would actually have to get his own download of that.
You can still play for an hour.
Now,
no. Like,
oh yes, now, another thing. Now, you guys remember a minute ago, I said that you had to be connected to the internet once every 24 hours to play games. Well, let's say I want to log into my account where the data for my games is stored on the cloud, by the way. We'll touch on that in a minute. Let's say I want to log into my account from Wolf's house. That 24 hours shrinks to 1. You have to be on the internet at least once every hour.
If you're playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with a bunch of friends in the room, that hour's going to be quick. Trust me.
And, I mean, while the internet's normally, at my house, this wouldn't have been that big of an issue unless, like, a blackout happens, in which case I couldn't play a game system anyway. Find me the son of a gun who can play a game system with a blackout going on and not a generator. I should point that out there.
You use a bunch of potatoes.
I have a generator, so I should throw that out there. Go ahead.
Now, the part that pretty much throws me out of sorts, I mean, he pretty much touched it up already. There is no, like, playback whatsoever with this thing. It's going to be strictly Xbox One titles, but here's the bombshell.
Which there are not that many exclusives of, by the way.
Here's the bombshell. Apparently, I got word that because of this whole thing they're trying to do with the system, if you want to play offline games, they said themselves, get a 360. And when they do, make a third one.
This is true.
Recently, Microsoft has offered, when the system came out, a patch that pretty much overrides everything in shops now.
Well, I was actually building up to that. Trust me. I will be getting to that in just a moment. Jackal, any words before I get to that patch?
Yeah. Now, no, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a loyalist to good games, good systems. Not really specifically any real.
May I cut you off for a second, Jackal, before you continue? This not only goes for Jackal, this goes for all of us. None of us are loyal to any one brand. We are loyal to games. Take, for instance, PS1. I owned it. PS2. I owned it. Did I ever get a PS3? Heck no! First it was that $599 stuff that no one wanted to touch on. Then when I finally did consider getting a PS4 or 3 when it got cheaper, they took away the backwards compatibility, and every other time I would get into it, there was always a reason to do something else with my money.
That's the reason
Xbox One, first system I legitimately owned. It was a gift, but I still owned it. Xbox 360. First system I actually bought with my own money. I spent 20 hours overtime working for the paycheck to get that thing, by the way. Nintendo, I've had a few consoles, but they were, again, like the PlayStation consoles, given to me by family. I mean, as far as my spending history goes, you could say I've been loyal to Xbox, but no, I'm loyal to the games. The PS3, and even, like I said, the problems with that, it has some great games coming out. I'll tell you right now, I want to play The Last of Us, but this close to the launch of PS4, there's no point in buying the system.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say this, and just to touch on that, for anyone who doesn't know, PS3 is my current system. I've had every Sony system from the PS1 to the PS3. I don't have everything except for PS4. I have had PS1, PS2 in Game Shark, PS2 in adapters. I've had PS3. I've had PSPs. I have had almost every Sony system. Before that, I was a Nintendo guy because I loved Legend of Zelda.
Before that, Nintendo was really the only real console-driven system. Well, aside before Sony dropped the PlayStation on us, Atari kind of died out.
Atari died out. Sega was dying, and after that, PlayStation had, yeah, PlayStation was just kind of getting on their feet.
I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, would you be supposed to say it?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this short intermission.
Yeah, sorry. Time constraints again. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos. Links to the other segments of the discussion in the description below. To wrap up the point we've been making, we're not loyal to any particular one brand. When anyone accuses us of that, we're loyal to the games. See you next episode.